While Celebrimbor dies in the Rings of Power Season 2 finale, he forecasts Sauron's future precisely before he does. Despite the Dark Lord stealing his life, Celebrimbor's final moments in Amazon's Lord of the Rings trilogy are intense as he resists Sauron's advances. Celebrimbor comments well that Sauron is fooling himself with his assertions about protecting Middle-earth. He also projects Sauron's destiny in an eerily exact fashion, speculating that one particular ring will bring down the demon later on. Hear the dying words of Celebrimbor. Charles Edwards' character tells Sauron during the Rings of Power Season 2's climax, "The Rings of Power will bring you down. And ultimately, I see one alone proving your complete downfall." The Lord of a region is naturally referring to the One Ring in this comment, even though it doesn't exist at this point in the series. Still, Celebrimbor guesses the Lord of the Rings ending precisely, and it's enough to momentarily throw off the Rings of Power's villain. According to the Rings of Power, the One Ring brings down Sauron. Eventually, the One Ring proves the death of Sauron when Frodo kills him permanently in the Third Age, and losing it to Isildur momentarily renders him dead during the Second Age. The One Ring does not exist in the Rings of Power Season 2, as Sauron spends most of the trip guiding Celebrimbor to create the other Rings of Power. However, Sauron invests the majority of his power in the ring that he will ultimately rule from. This turns out to be an expensive error, both before and throughout the Lord of the Rings. Exactly as Celebrimbor foretells at the end of the Rings of Power Season 2, Sauron dies when he ties his strength to the One Ring. Celebrimbor, who aids in starting the villain's conquest with the Rings of Power, is suited to predict Sauron's death. Though viewers would be curious how Celebrimbor could see Sauron's destiny so well, his last remarks made sense given their close working proximity in the past episodes. How does Celebrimbor know what the future will bring for Sauron? Despite making sense in the context of the Rings of Power Season 2, the exactness of Celebrimbor's final remarks to Sauron is unsettling. Sauron disguises himself as Annatar, then collaborates closely with Celebrimbor to create the 9 rings for men and the dwarves' 7 rings. Spending time together in Celebrimbor's forge lets these characters grow to know one another. Celebrimbor understands Sauron's beliefs before he even learns the villain's true name. That helps one understand why the Lord of a region can anticipate Sauron's future actions. Apart from reading Sauron's intentions, Celebrimbor believes in the elves and other Middle-earth races. He shows as much several times in the Season 2 finale, displaying hope even in the face of his own death. Though it will take time for the rest of Middle-earth to overcome Sauron, Celebrimbor's hope for the future gives him cause to believe he will fall. Furthermore, his capacity to foretell the intentions of the adversary provides him with an understanding of how it could end out, therefore creating a picture very similar to the Return of the King. Already predicted that Frodo and Sam would save Middle-earth Celebrimbor. Celebrimbor's hope for the future not only foretells Sauron's doom, but also hints at Frodo and Sam's path thousands of years before the Lord of the Rings. At his goodbye, Celebrimbor tells Galadriel that light rules over everything else. He claims that light will help, but armies won't be able to overcome the darkness of Middle-earth. And the light he speaks of is evident in every figure who challenges Sauron during the Second and Third Ages. With this light, Frodo and Sam can permanently defeat the enemy once more. In The Lord of the Rings, Sam and Frodo defeat Sauron without armies or physical might. Instead, their bravery proves to be the villain's undoing, as it surprises him and propels them forward to destroy the One Ring, even when all hope seems lost. Predicting the end of Sauron's saga as well as Sam and Frodo's triumph, Celebrimbor's speech in the Rings of Power Season 2 sets up this result. Although the Amazon series nicely draws everything together, it's a pity it won't immediately link to the Lord of the Rings adaptations.